Today we will continue delta H measurements. Delta H measurements. Delta H means enthalpy change. Okay, so this can be measured under constant pressure. At constant pressure using coffee cup calorimeter. Coffee cup calorimeter. Okay. So in this we will be having a coffee cup. Thermometer, and this side we have stirrer. We have to move the stirrer up and down. Okay, this stirrer will be in the form of a circular loop. You have to move the stirrer up and down. It will mix the liquid. So this is insulated stopper. This is insulated cups. This is the mixture where the reaction is going to take place. Reaction, mixture, thermometer, stirrer. So in the bomb calorimeter, we will have a bomb which is made up of steel. Yes or no? Inside that only we will have the reaction, the sample. Here, instead of bomb, you have a cup, coffee cup. Okay. So instead of bomb, we have a styrofoam cup. Styrofoam cup means, do you know what? The plastic cup in which we paper illama plastic illama or cup irukkum. We will drink coffee. Okay. So the styrofoam cup it acts as a adiabatic wall. What is adiabatic wall? What is adiabatic process we studied? the process in which there is no transfer of heat energy. So adiabatic wall means it will prevent the heat from going outside. That is what is called as adiabatic wall. Okay. So adiabatic wall means it does not allow heat transfer during the reaction. It does not allow the heat transfer during the reaction. Okay. So here, whatever this place we will be having water. Okay, va? So whatever this heat is produced in the reaction, it will be absorbed by the water, and the change in temperature in the water is measured by the thermometer. Other all the process it is same only. Okay. So the heat energy is absorbed by the water okay, and the temperature is measured by thermometer. Temperature is measured by the thermometer. So how will you calculate Q? Q is equal to MW CW delta P. This is the formula to calculate the heat. Okay. So MW is the molar mass of water. Yesterday I told you what is the value. What is molar mass of water? Not MW. CW is the heat capacity of water. The value is 75.29 joules per Kelvin per mole. Okay. Applications of heat of combustion. Applications of heat of combustion. First application, it is used to calculate the heat of formation. It is used to calculate the heat of formation. Heat of formation means what? Whenever a new substance is forming, heat energy will be released or absorbed. Okay, so to calculate that heat of formation, we can use this formula. That is the meaning. Okay. Next one, to calculate the calorific value. To calculate the calorific value of fuel and food. So what is meant by calorific value? What is calorific value? Yesterday I gave homework.
The amount of
Heat produced. Okay. Calorific value means the amount of heat produced. Okay. So a good fuel means the fuel should produce more heat. More heat means what? It should have more calorific value. So amount of heat produced in calories, we will measure that in calories. That is what is called as calorific value. The amount of heat produced in calories when 1 gram of a substance is completely burnt. If 1 gram of the substance is completely burnt, that is called as the calorific value. So a good fuel should have more calorific value. So to calculate that calorific value, how much heat is produced, we can use this formula, heat of combustion. Okay. So the SI unit of calorific value is SI unit of calorific value is joules kilogram inverse. Okay, but we are measuring it in calories, so we can also tell it as calories gram inverse. Okay, calories gram inverse. So with this we are completing heat of combustion. The next one is heat of solution. Heat of solution. Solution means what? Solution will contain two things. What are the two things which will be present inside the solution? Solute and solvent. Which will be dissolved in what? Solute will be dissolved in the solvent. So when you dissolve the solute in the solvent, how much heat energy is produced or how much heat energy is absorbed? That is called as heat of the solution. Heat of the solution means it is the change in enthalpy when 1 mole of a substance 1 mole of a substance is dissolved in a specific quantity of solvent. Specific quantity of solvent. When 1 mole of the solute is dissolved in the solvent, how much heat change is taking place? That is called as heat of the solution. Okay, so heat of the solution, only definition is there. Next one is heat of neutralization. What is neutralization reaction? In 10th standard you have studied it.
Yes, sir.
Acid plus base gives salt plus water. Okay, that is what is called as neutralization. So when an acid is neutralized by the base, okay, so what is the heat change? That is called as heat of neutralization. So heat of neutralization means change in enthalpy when 1 gram equivalent. 1 gram equivalent means equivalent mass. Okay, 1 gram equivalent of the acid is neutralized by 1 gram equivalent of the base. Is neutralized by 1 gram equivalent of the base. Okay. The next one, molar heat of fusion. Molar heat of fusion. What is fusion? In 9th standard you have studied fusion. Fusion. Okay.
Opposite of fission.
Adilla. That is nuclear fusion. Nuclear fission. Fusion, the other meaning is melting. Now you say, what is fusion?
Melting.
What is melting?
Rice.
Solid will change into liquid. That is only called as fusion. Okay. Molar heat means what? When 1 mole of the solid is changing into liquid, what will be the enthalpy change? Okay, so write the definition on your own. Change in enthalpy when 1 mole of a solid is converted into liquid. That is called as molar heat of fusion. Okay. Now the next definition you are only going to say.
Me.
You only, Aditya. கொஞ்சோண்டு சாப்பிட்றா ஏன்டா அஸ்கி வாய்ஸ்ல molar heat of vaporization. Ipo, you tell for this one, vaporization and liquid will change into gas. Apo molar na, when 1 mole of liquid changes into gas,
Gas.
what is the change in enthalpy? Write the definition.
I only say this.
Change in enthalpy when 1 mole of liquid changes into gas. Okay, next one. When the liquid will change into gas at the boiling point, that also you mentioned. At its boiling point. Here also you can mention at its melting point. At its melting point. Okay. Next one. Molar heat of sublimation. What is sublimation?
Solid to gas.
Solid changes directly into
Yes.
gas. So that also you should mention. Okay. So change in enthalpy when 1 mole of solid changes into gas in bracket without changing into
Liquid.
liquid. Suppose if they are not giving molar means you should not write 1 mole. Okay, you should simply write change in enthalpy when solid changes to gas. Molar and if they give means you should mention 1 mole. Okay, next one, heat of transition. Heat of transition. Transition means in the 10th standard you would have studied about allotrope. Allotropes of carbon. What are the allotropes of carbon? Graphite, diamond and fullerene. Yes or no? Carbon and compounds lesson you would have studied. Graphite, diamond and fullerene. So transition means one allotrope will be changing into another allotrope. That is what is called as transition. So when the element changes from one allotropic form to another allotropic form, what will be the change in enthalpy? Write down. Change in enthalpy when an element changes from one allotropic form to another is called as heat of transition. So with this we are completing all the definitions of the lesson. Now we are going to go inside the lesson. Okay. So first topic is Hess law of constant heat summation. Hess law of constant heat summation. See, I will write one example. Okay, I am going to write one example. A, one substance A is there. This substance is going to form a compound B. So a reactant A is forming the product B. Okay. So the change in enthalpy for this reaction, I am writing it as delta HR. What is delta HR? the change in enthalpy for the reaction.
Yes.
Okay, so when A is changing into B, the heat change is delta HR. But this A is not directly changing into B. First, this A will change into intermediate called X. Next, this X will change into Y. Then this Y only will change into B. So it occurs in 3 steps. First step, second step, and third step. Okay, so for this first step, the heat change I am writing it as delta H1. For the second step, I am writing it as delta H2. Then for the third step, I am writing it as delta H3. Then we can say that the total heat change of the reaction is equal to sum of the heat changes of all the steps. So delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. This is called as Hess law of constant heat summation. Okay, so the enthalpy change of the reaction. Delta H means enthalpy change. R means reaction. So enthalpy change of the reaction is same. Okay, whether it takes place in single step or in multiple steps. Okay, so this value will be equal. This is a single step reaction. Whether if it is taking place in a single step or if the reaction is going to take place in multiple step, always the change in heat will be the same. Single step heat also will be same. If it takes place in multiple steps also, the heat change will be same. So this is called as Hess law. Applications of Hess law and problems we will study in the next class. I regret to inform that many students, you have taken things for granted. You have not completed most of your works. You told me that since exams are going on in the school, you were not able to complete, but exams got over. Yes or no? And still now I didn't get the works from most of the students. Okay, so in the next video, if I don't get, you yourself know who has not completed and sent me the pictures. So in the next video, if I don't get the works from those students, okay, those students who have taken things for granted, those students who are just completing the works for name's sake, okay, so those students who are not showing any interest, you yourself know, so you have become more lenient. You were perfect in the beginning, but now you are not at all perfect. So those students, and some of the students only if I ask, you are sending me the work and you are telling me the reason, you do not have any courtesy to inform. Okay, so those students names will be mentioned in the next video if you don't continue, if you don't send me your works properly. Okay, so this is just a warning for you. So be proper and don't make me angry by not disobeying. Okay, so be proper and complete your works on time.